Hello, I'm Doug and this is the Taste and Sensibility channel. And today we are at day 2 of the Whisky Advent Calendar, which is in this huge wampum box, unlike last year. So this is from Drinks by the Dram. It's put together by Drinks by the Dram, but they don't have retailers to sell it. They don't have any retail outlets. They need other people to be the retailer to get it to the final customers. So for years and years, people got it from Master of Malt, but they got bought last year by a company, and that put them into a different tier of the U.S. alcohol distribution system. And they occupied 2 tiers and could not ship anymore to the U.S. So that was a big problem for people. But I found a retailer last year to get me this, Muazo, which is a lifestyle and beauty, grooming type. And they do some of the Drinks by the Dram Whiskey Advent calendars. So I got it from them last year, I got it from them this year. So I will put a link down below and let you know how to get one. And it should work for next year and years after. But lots of people think they've disappeared because Master of Malt doesn't do it, but that's not quite the case. But this is a much bigger box holding the same size samples that I had in years past. I'll just have to struggle with it in my tiny little set here. So I'm going to find day 2 and poke it out. Not ripping off the whole top. Okay, it's a little different than the plain cardboard. Oh man, the label's facing up. So I need to know that. So I saw a couple letters, but not the name. But it was facing up with some of the label exposed. So any of these things that are oblong are not just, that's why it's so big. And not just going to show you the cap and the wax and the seal. So I'm going to have to be ready for that coming days. So I will pour it in, seeing the label again. And I'm going to put it in this little lens shroud so it is hidden from my view. Look, some of the wax stuck to me. And now I will not fling this across the room, but just set it over here carefully. I want to obstruct the view of baby Jesus over there in the manger. Carefully constructed set like this, and one little blip can mess it all up. So, this is a nice, interesting dark color, and it doesn't look artificially colored. It's just a deep yellow, amber, more amber than most. And it doesn't look like the E150 that they can put in to make it darker. It's got a little different vibe to it. So I'm smelling something malty. There's a malt and a typical ABV, 43, 45, something like that. And no peat or sherry or wine cask finishing notes that I can detect at all. And my smeller is my worst part. Like you can sneak lots of things by me if all I'm going to do is smell it. So it's seems like a scotchy thing. It could easily be a malt from some other part of the world, some other part of Europe, some other part of the usual malt making countries, Taiwan, India, Australia, Canada. Okay, they're not really big in malt in Canada, but they have got a couple distilleries that do it. These calendars tend to have several European distilleries and several Asian distilleries. So this is malty, nice, friendly, sweet, honey-like, biscuit-like. Maybe it's had more floral character than most scotches, but this is really nice. No one would be worried based on the nose. So I'm running out of clues. So I will just move on to the tasting. Wow, high ABV, 46 to 50. There's a sharpness or a twang to it that's maybe indicating youth or maybe indicating some sort of finishing. But it's not a wine or a fruitiness. Yeah, there's no fruit. There's a sharpness there that I'm not used to and can't identify. So the maltiness is covered up by a sweetness on the palate. I smell malt, but then I don't taste it much on the palate. The maltiness is not evident, and some other sweetness is. So it could be like a white wine finish on a malt, where the fruitiness is very light and light colored. So it's a nice pop on the ABV. I'm thinking 46. There's a little effervescence. There's a little citrus character, tiny bit of ginger. It's not sour, but something is sharp and pokey. So it makes it fairly interesting. I like it. Yeah, I think it's a high quality product. I just haven't tasted anything like this. I'm thinking it's not a Scotch. I'm thinking it's some other European distillery that's doing their normal thing. And this is the way it turns out. It's not a lot of oak notes. I'm not getting a lot of tannins. I'm not getting the wood spice that I identify, that I know of. Might be used oak, and yeah, I'm going with a white wine finish is the most likely culprit or explanation for all these flavors. Okay, so that's where I'm stuck on this one. And let me do a little water and see if anything changes. So if you like the reviews that you're seeing here for the Whiskey Advent Calendar and other items, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Leave some comments down below. Leave questions. Interact some. I will put up all the names of all the whiskeys on the titles to be clickbait. And so to make it searchable after I'm done, but I sure don't know the name right now. Everything is diluted or turned down, toned down. I don't get the maltiness at all. I'm not sure I would identify any of the flavors as fruit. I'm just getting sweet. Might say honey, might not. There's a sweetness to it still, but I don't really get the floral character. I don't get the fruitiness. And I don't think the nose changed to me. So it's not Doesn't seem to be useful to add water. Nothing gets better. So this is a nice, pleasant palate that wouldn't bother anybody. Nothing offensive, nothing off-putting. But it's not really in my wheelhouse. I personally wouldn't have a lot of reason to drink it. If I bought a bottle, it would take me a couple years to get through it. And it would be pleasant enough. I'd pour it for people who don't like whiskey, maybe. So I think it's one of those other European country malts. Just a guess. So they usually have very different ways of doing things, and it often turns out like this. They're often next to a bunch of casks of some other type of different wine casks, or have a distillation method that is different or odd, or turns out a different kind of spirit. And I think it's one of those really different ones, and not a Scotch. So, here we go. Starward Nova. Single malt whiskey, 41% volume. So Starward is striking me as an Australian thing. Single malt. Does it really say Nova? N-O-V-A. There. I always get reading glasses in my bifocals. I'm not sure they ever do anything. Single malt. So it is slightly malty. It is 41%. Drinks a little hotter than that. And I think Starward was in my collection last year. So high quality product. It doesn't really fit my preferences very well. But if I had a bottle, I would pour it for people who are new to whiskey and need an introduction. And I don't think anything in here would offend them except that 41% alcohol. So this is friendly and nice. So that'll wrap up day number 2 of the 2019 Whiskey Advent Calendar. So Merry Christmas to you.